What is up, everybody? Today we're talking about Bill Cosby's jail time and a lot more on BHL's The Trend. Y'all acting like y'all don't want to dance to this song. Come on now. Nate's ready to hit the part.
Yeah,
you ready to hit the note.
I can hit that note.
Oh, I know you can. I know you can. I believe you, brother. I believe you.
Very well in the shower.
Little echo system.
Yeah. I sound like Beyonce.
I sound like Prince when I'm in the shower, too.
I sound like a male Beyonce.
We can do a duet. We can do a duet. All right, what's up, everybody? Welcome to The Trend. I'm your host, Derrial, Christon. Joining me today, I got an all-male panel. This is very rare in this studio for my show. All right, Courtney's not here today. Congratulations to her. She's actually entering her film into the Catalina Film Festival, so she's out today. But joining me are three brothers. I'm going to say all the authors are joining me today. We got Dr. Chris.
Hey, what's up?
We got Nathan Hale with us today.
Yes, sir.
And
Happy
we got
to be here.
Marion E. Brooks with us today as well. So this is, I'm overwhelmed with the excitement because we got a lot of good topics we're going to talk about today. We're going to go in. We're going in.
Right. Let's go in.
But before we go in, I'm going to talk about these books that you guys got going on because you two have What You Don't Know Is Hurting You, Keys to a Phenomenal Career. It's already #1. You guys can get it on Amazon and it's
anywhere books are sold.
Anywhere books are sold. We just went to a great premiere party for you, and they're going to go to a local city soon. You know, Dallas is next, I believe.
October 11th in Dallas.
So be sure to pick up that book. And then, Dr. Chris, you got a lot of stuff going on. You got a new book coming out as well in 2019.
Yeah,
right?
January 19th, 2019.
And what's the title?
It's called The Search for America's Soul.
Search for America's Soul, but you already have
Divided we stand.
I hope
Search
you-
for America's
I hope
Soul.
you can tell us how to find it after the day.
Yes,
I
exactly.
can
Listen, we need that. That's a good segue.
Parents, baby.
Yeah.
That's right. So we're going to start off, though. We have a trending video of the week. So Mr. Will Smith, he just celebrated his 50th birthday, and he did it in style. He jumped out of a helicopter. He bungee jumped out of a helicopter. We got a quick video we're going to show you.
Yes, yes.
See, I couldn't.
No.
I couldn't do it.
Okay, let's just go ahead and get in on this video. All right. So first of all, congratulations, Will.
Yeah.
You know, we love
Yes,
Will.
sir.
He brought all of his family and friends. They jumped. You know, he jumped in front of his family and friends, and you could see from his reactions and from their reaction, it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not on my bucket list.
Well, you know, not either. Me neither. I mean, you know, we kind of joke that black people don't do that kind of thing.
Right.
And he's actually joked about it moving up to the event, and that's actually why he did it. So the things surrounded it about overcoming your fears and whatever, it was very inspirational and positive. And he's one of my favorite celebrities on Instagram. But I'm going to let Big Willie do this his style. I would never jump out of a helicopter on a bungee. It's just, I'm not meant for that.
No. Marion's like, no.
Not a chance.
No.
Not a chance.
No. What about you, Dr. Chris?
No, I'll definitely do that.
Definitely.
Oh, I thought he was going to say
Have you
definitely
done it
not.
before?
No, I haven't done it before, but I'll definitely do that.
Why would you say that?
Because I'm one of these people who I believe in doing those things that people are not supposed to do.
Mm-hmm.
And there is such an adrenaline rush. I don't know if you guys have ever, been in a helicopter.
Nope.
But taking that helicopter and then bungee jumping out of that.
Yeah, no.
Oh man, whoa, that will be the biggest rush you could ever get. I'll definitely do that.
I'm gonna take your word for it.
I'll be down with a cocktail to cheer you
Yeah, I'll be down there with Nate,
Exactly.
have cocktails,
brother.
and clapping for you when you get down to the ground.
No, I'll definitely do it.
I never want to be. I never want to be in a private plane, like, cause I don't like small. I've never taken a helicopter but it's my own personal phobia that I'm not really too keen on getting over. I'm cool with my phobia. Yeah.
Yeah. I did a helicopter in Hawaii.
Were you scared?
Oh, no, it was amazing.
Oh, okay. Did it have the glass bottom?
No.
Okay.
I did the helicopter in Vegas for my birthday, but it was fun. It was an experience, but I felt like every time the wind hit that I was about to hit the top of the building, and but the bungee jumping, I don't think I'd be able to survive it. I think that literally as I'm jumping out of a plane or a helicopter or whatever, my heart would instantly it would stop.
No.
It would
I cried while
break down.
parasailing in the Bahamas. I literally, as a grown man, cried while parasailing. And you know, like, there's not much that can happen to you in a parasailing.
Right.
I
Not
cried.
really.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm gonna leave that one. Oh, go ahead.
After the fear, was it fun?
No, I was crying during the whole time. No, I couldn't even enjoy it because I'm scared of heights.
Okay, well that makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, okay.
Okay.
Got that.
Well, it must be rough on a plane then for you.
No, I feel like the bigger the plane, the better, because then I don't even notice it. Like I don't even.
Okay.
I fly too much to be scared of flying. I would
Right.
never do anything if I was scared of flying. But the little things like helicopters and little bitty planes.
You're not
Yeah,
feeling
see,
it.
I just look at it from the opposite standpoint. The big planes, I'm not really with that. If I'm in the private jet or the helicopter, I'm good.
You're all about
But you
that.
know, the bigger planes have. If I'm also a statistics person, they don't fall out the air much. It's the
Right.
little planes and the helicopters that have the
That's
most
true.
incidents of accidents.
Yeah,
That's
but
true.
you know,
And fatalities.
for me, when I'm on the plane, I'm lit. So I'm good.
Okay. All right, Dr. Chris. Chris was like, look. He said, I don't feel it
He
anyway.
said I was in the lounge.
Right.
Ready by the time I get out, I feel no pain.
Right. So whatever.
I was not expecting that answer. I want to roll with Dr. Chris. That's what I'm talking about.
What's your lit of choice?
Right, what's your little choice? Right.
Well, it depends. So I can do Jack and Coke.
Okay.
I could do cannabis.
Okay.
I could do any of those or
Okay.
any combination. And I
Okay.
do this really good drink in the morning.
Okay.
It's called
In the
Jack and
morning?
Joe. Yeah.
Wait, Jack and Joe?
Jack and Joe. So let me tell you about Jack and Joe.
Okay.
It's coffee, Bailey's, and honey Jack. Yo, that's the
That
way.
sound lit.
Oh.
Oh, you really
Wait,
are lit.
that's your AM drink? Is that on the regular?
It's 12 o'clock
Let me
somewhere.
find out.
That's
12
the
o'clock
AM
somewhere.
drink.
Listen, I want that recipe.
I know, right?
Yeah, look, that's the AM drink.
Okay.
But you see, you gotta do it in a styrofoam cup though.
Oh, okay.
You can't do it in a regular cup.
Because then everybody will know your stilo.
Yeah. So you do it in a styrofoam cup, like, yeah, that's a really good taste of
juice.
Starbucks.
Right. Yeah.
See, now I know when he got that extra smile on CNN, what that extra smile is all about.
There you go.
He's like,
Wait a minute.
Yeah, I'm like, hey. I'm like,
he's like about them politics.
yeah. So now
You made my drink for today, didn't you?
see, there you go. Mhm.
Now, obviously, that was Will Smith's part of his bucket list, I would assume.
Yeah.
What's one item that's on your bucket list that you'd like to do?
Triathlon.
Okay, I was expecting you to be like, I'm jumping off a volcano.
Right.
No. The triathlon is good for me, and I especially want to do that in combination with the polar bear
Oh, okay.
swim. Oh, yeah. Oh, I would absolutely love that. Polar bear swim, the triathlon. Oh, I'm good.
Yeah, you doing all the stuff I will never do.
I'm good with that.
Have fun.
What about you?
Mine is, and I'm going to do it for my 45th birthday. I want to have a Nathan Slam. I'm a huge tennis is my favorite sport, so I want to go to all of the Grand Slams in the calendar year.
Oh, that's dope.
And so hopefully, it looks like Serena will still be playing in 3 years. So hopefully she'll still be playing, and I get to see her. But I want to do a Nathan Slam.
Okay.
I actually did mine. It was zip lining in Costa Rica.
Okay.
In the rainforest.
Okay.
Most amazing. Now, initially, it's so high up, you're in the clouds when you start. I was terrified. By the end, I was turning backwards. I was doing all these things. So that was that.
Did you cry?
No.
Okay.
No, I loved it.
Were you lit?
No.
He's like, no.
That would have made it better.
So my new one is to do parasailing.
Okay.
Because I
Oh,
haven't
yeah.
done that.
Parasailing.
Okay.
Yeah, that's the new one.
I'd like to, is going to go against all my rules, but I just have this fascination with it. I like to swim in a cage with sharks. Like maybe, you know, I don't know about the great white sharks per se, but like the, you know, sharks like out in the
Now
ocean.
you're in a cage and they're around you?
Yeah, you know how they
not
do it.
in
Yeah.
the cage.
No,
with
no,
the
not
sharks.
with me.
You said
Oh,
in
okay.
with the
Oh,
sharks.
no, not with the sharks.
Okay.
Sorry. I meant I'm in the cage and
Okay.
they're in
I
the
would do
ocean.
that. I would do that.
You
I
know,
would do, as
Just
long
like,
as I
I
was
don't know,
in the
I've always
cage.
wanted to do it, even though it's a little bit of a fear of somehow that thing getting cut and falling to the bottom of the ocean, but I want to do it. I kind of want to try it.
That I actually would do, because
Yeah.
as long as the cage is protecting me.
Yeah.
And I like the water. So anything in the water, I'm
Yeah.
good. Above the water,
You can't do it.
So scuba diving is good for you guys?
I can do scuba diving.
Scuba diving. Yeah.
I snorkel and all of that.
Oh, yeah.
I have
That's
a bigger
good.
fear of that than bungee jumping out of a plane.
Why? What's that? You
It's
afraid
just
of the
something-
guppies, the fish?
It's just something about getting stuck down there.
I feel you.
Yeah.
I feel you. Let's see, but all right. So we're gonna move on to a more serious topic. If you got a television or if you got the internet, whatever, you know what's happened to Bill Cosby. We found out this week that he was sentenced to 3 to 10 years for the 2004 sexual assault case against him, and we've all seen that really pathetic, sad mugshot that I can't get the image out of my head. So he will be permanently housed at the SCI Phoenix Prison in Collegeville, Pennsylvania, according to the state's Department of Corrections. To make matters worse, they found out, or they were saying today, that he's being sued for $282,000 in legal fees generated from the entertainer's civil and criminal cases related to the sexual assault back from a law firm. So it's just like things just keep piling on for him. Now, what do you guys think as far as like the sentencing? Do you think that the sentencing was too harsh, or were you expecting this sentencing overall?
I'm an attorney as well, and he was convicted of a crime, and that's the sentencing that's within the sentencing guidelines. And so I don't think the sentencing was too harsh, because I think the judge mentioned that he'd serve at least 3 years. At least 3 years, and we know how this goes. The sentence is one thing. Unfortunately, our prisons are overcrowded. He'll probably be out before the 3 years. But this man is how old?
81.
He's 81. Yeah. So I don't think the sentencing was too harsh, but I do have a whole bunch of layers of emotions around just the situation in general.
Like what?
So, I think that you can having grown up in the 80s, The Cosby Show is my favorite show of all time, and now I am a television and film producer. I can separate and bifurcate the different people. Bill Cosby obviously is not Cliff Huxtable. Right. We found that out about some years ago when he started shaming black people for being poor, right, and wearing the jeans, and he wasn't apologetic then. And clearly, with 60 women, there's something going on there. And then no one said that the trial was a sham or he was set up or anything like that. He was rightfully convicted, so he has to do his time. But I actually didn't see the mugshot, and I actually didn't see him in handcuffs because I specifically did not want to see Bill Cosby's mugshot and in handcuffs, because that's indelible in my mind that I grew up. The Cosby Show and Bill Cosby himself presented an image of black man and a black family that encouraged and inspired me, and I just didn't want to see that. Yeah. So I have a bunch of mixed emotions. I'm not a rape apologist at all. I'm very pro-woman, and he deserves to be in jail. He did wrong, and he deserves to be in jail. He's rightfully convicted. But in the zeitgeist of seeing Bill Cosby, someone who I admired for so long, in handcuffs and going to jail, it's surreal to me.
Yeah. Marion?
For me, it was as Nathan said, you see both sides of it, and it's a really difficult thing to see someone at that level to be brought down so hard and so fast based on his own doing and not being apologetic about it, right? He still is denying it, and also all of the things that he was doing. My turn started when he started shaming black people, and he was talking about all these things. He was very high on the horse, right? Mm-hmm. And looking down on everyone. So the fall, to me, though, is still tragic. Not just for black people, but for all people and for Americans, because he connected us in a way that we hadn't been connected before with the Cosby Show. And he inspired generations to go to college and individuals to connect and to talk that probably would have never talked because they saw us differently based on the show. So that's the sad part. Now, as far as his sentencing is concerned, he's been convicted and he needs to go to jail, but I did read some things and see some things today that concerned me about like people throwing stuff and hitting him in the face, him falling downstairs. He's been convicted, but he should still be protected. No matter what someone has done, if they go to jail, they should not be put in a position where they are going to be brutalized or anything of that sort. I don't condone that for anyone.
Our whole prison system needs to be reformed anyway. And I don't feel sorry for Bill Cosby at all. I just feel sorry for what the Cosby Show and all his work meant to the country. The Cosby Show changed.
It changed the viewpoint of how black families were viewed, to even non-black families.
Right, exactly.
But that impact doesn't go away unless we take it away, right? Because I still look at the Cosby Show and I still see those things because Cliff Huxtable was not Bill Cosby, and he never was. It's what it represented. So what that show represented, what all of those other amazing actors represented and did, should not be diminished based on what Bill Cosby did.
But you'll never see the Cosby Show again.
No.
Not on television.
I know, and
Not
that's
until they die, and
It's true.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that or disagree, Dr.
Well,
Curtis?
I think from the standpoint of the sentencing guidelines, that was correct. My concern, however, is the shenanigans concerning the bringing of the case in the first place, right on the last day of the statute of limitations. I mean, seriously,
Yeah.
This has been going on for so long. So that concerned me more than anything else. The guidelines are what the guidelines are. There was a conviction. I think his counsel was, in my view, inadequately prepared. When you have
agree with that.
somebody up there and you don't badger because at that point it's all over. So, but my concern is really the shenanigans that led up to the prosecution. That's my concern. I absolutely believe that the sentence is not too harsh. For me, it's like, the man is 81, you're going to put him in jail, but he's been convicted of a crime. So you can't be for law and order on the one hand and then say, yeah, except when somebody has privilege, power, or money. Yeah,
Right.
that doesn't
They don't go
work.
together.
And it doesn't, it's not lost on me either, the juxtaposition of Bill Cosby and the fact that Donald Trump is the president, and then what happened today in
With Kavanaugh.
the Kavanaugh hearings. I mean, first of all, that woman was completely credible, in my opinion, from just a legal standpoint, credible, truthful, and he was unhinged. But he's on his way to the Supreme Court. And I'm not excusing Bill Cosby. I'm just saying that as living while black in America, it's not lost on me that juxtaposition that Trump has been accused by 15 different women, credible women, and he has been on tape admitting. Let's remember, Bill Cosby has denied this the entire time. He's never said, I did this. We have the President of the United States on tape admitting that he sexually assaults women, and millions of people still voted for him.
Yeah. Women, lots of women.
Women.
A lot of women.
Yeah. So yeah, for me, it's about equity and being fair and treating everyone the same. So there are a lot of people who deserve to be convicted. There are a lot of people that should be in court right now based on the same things that Bill Cosby did, but they are not. To Nathan's point, I don't excuse anyone, but we should treat everyone fairly.
Yeah.
And we should make sure that we hold everyone to the same standard, whether they're trying to get on the Supreme Court or they're trying to run for president. If it's a violation, if we find that it's reprehensible for one, it's reprehensible for all people who do it. And that's the issue that I'm having right now. Some people seem to be getting a pass for doing the same things.
Absolutely. I mean, I think that's where we are, unfortunately, politically even, we're seeing it. And I was reading today that his star on the Walk of Fame was vandalized. They put I forgot the exact word, serial rapist on there. O.J. Simpson even came out of the blue and gave him some advice.
OJ.
Yeah,
Shut
O.J.'s
up,
giving him
OJ.
advice.
Shut up, OJ. Get out of here, OJ.
Yeah, O.J. needs to stop, right?
Well, the only thing that OJ did say that made sense to me is they were saying they want to put him, that's why I was talking about safety, into the general population
Right.
eventually. Yeah. And OJ was saying they can't do that.
They can't do that, no.
You do not do that because you're going to have that man in a position where he has no safety and you're going to put him in great danger.
And I don't think that it's fair for them to do that anyway.
No,
I feel like there's enough people that will protect him from that because it would not be a good thing for him.
Because where's Bernie Madoff?
Right,
exactly.
right,
So
right.
that's my point.
That's true. Yeah.
That's my point. But they said that was
Martha
their,
Stewart wasn't in general population.
but that's their goal. That was their goal. So that's what OJ was talking about. If that's their goal, that is insane.
Yeah.
To put that man in general population.
So, Dr. Chris, do you think that there is definitely a double standard?
Well, in the case of Trump, I think there's a distinction. The distinction here is that he's not being convicted of a crime. I think that's the distinction here.
But they didn't even pursue it.
No, they haven't. The prosecution has not pursued anything because nothing's been reported to the prosecution.
That's not true. Yeah, he's had victims that have been represented by Gloria Allred that have made criminal charges against him. All of that happened.
Yeah. However, the standard relative to being able to meet indictment standard simply has not held up. And I think that's the distinction here. And so even if, I got my own issues with Gloria, but even if those things, he's not been convicted of a crime. And so I think that's part of the issue. I think with the hearings, Republicans have made several tactical mistakes. Mistake number one, the way that the hearing went on today, you hire a sex crimes prosecutor. The contradiction, and I've said this, the contradiction for me is, as Republicans, we don't believe supposedly in affirmative action, and we don't believe in political correctness, except when you don't want to have a bunch of white men angrily questioning a woman. That is a significant tactical mistake.
And then you have the nominee himself become an angry white man.
Right.
And the problem for me with this entire thing is the institution of the Supreme Court of the United States. A nominee to the Supreme Court of the United States should never behave this entire thing. To me, it's a threat to the Republic and the way that it was conducted.
Can you imagine if RBG had acted like that in her?
I mean,
you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, first of all, she wouldn't,
right?
Because she has the decorum and the demeanor of a Supreme Court justice.
Yeah.
And that was charges aside. That was actually, I know this is not on our topics, but charges aside, that was the thing that struck me the most. Because even their prosecutor said this is not a truth finding. This is not the way we should do this. Even the person that they hired said that. But what disturbed me the most was his comportment, his demeanor in his rebuttal. And I'm like, that shouldn't be able to be on the highest court for the rest of his life.
Right.
Yeah, but we're living in a very different political environment. So in this particular political environment, those are the things that are acceptable. And so I think in the context of America, we have to ask the question, is this the America we want to be? And what has happened
That's a good question.
to America's soul? I mean, I think that's the question. That's worth a discussion. In my view, you can disagree with people. I can disagree with people all day long, but I'm going to attack the argument. I'm not going to attack the person. And that's where we find ourselves. And so there is this base that essentially says he needs to come out fighting. Okay, maybe a short-term win, but the question becomes, does that undermine the Republic? And that's the question that nobody's talking about.
Oh, no, I think plenty of people are talking about it. I think that the tenor of this country changed on November 8th, 2016. And one thing that I will give Donald Trump, he has not pulled out any surprises. We knew who this man was.
Yeah.
He
And
was
that's my
unapologetic about who he was, and they elected him anyway. So there are 58 million Americans who wanted us to go down this road.
Yeah, because in fact, there were two things. One, there were people who believed that that's who we should elect. And we also had, from the Democratic Party standpoint, a very flawed candidate. When you introduce...
Nobody better say nothing about Hillary.
but when you introduce...
So, Dr. Charles, okay, go ahead, finish your thought.
But when you introduce somebody like Hillary Clinton into the mix, and when Hillary gets the data that, in fact, people who are coming out to vote early and people who are registering are from rural Wisconsin, they're from rural Pennsylvania. When you get that message, you don't just say, oh yeah, okay, that's just Democrats coming home. It's not. And when you decide, when the people of Wisconsin put together all these rallies and you simply don't show up, hey, you get what you get. And that, I think...
Well, also 100 million people did not vote.
Well, they did not.
And I was going to say,
it's a combination.
3 million more people still voted for her.
Well,
so
they did,
then voted for him.
Yeah, but we have the Electoral College.
No, I
That's
understand that. I'm just saying, but more people,
which was to protect the slave states.
But I was going to say,
let's be clear.
But when we talk about the Republic, more people in the Republic felt she was a better choice, and we have to look in the mirror at ourselves as a country. The way he's behaving, what you were talking about with the nominee for the Supreme Court, he's acting no differently than the president acts every day.
Well, and
that's true.
And they encouraged him to do that.
But when you think about it, the scary part for me is that that's the example we're teaching our children. So our children are seeing that bullying and acting that way and not being able to take responsibility and attacking people is the way that you rise to success. Yeah. And that's the scary part in this whole conversation to me.
Well, and the question, though, is, as Americans in general, we have outsourced the Republican. Here's what I mean by that. We believe that we vote for somebody and then they do whatever, and that we are not actively holding people accountable.
100%.
That is the problem with undermining the Republic. It's like, okay, so yeah, I voted for such and such, and then when we hear the question about, for example, term limits, people argue with me all the time, well, term limits are not in the Constitution. Neither was...
There's a lot that's not in the Constitution.
Yeah, there's a lot that's not in the Constitution, but that's not an excuse.
Y'all like us voting.
Yeah, if in fact what we say is we're going to hold people accountable by taking action, what we're doing is just kind of simply, okay, well, yeah, I sent my person, and then you hear throw the bums out, just don't throw out my bum. Well, your bum is part of the problem. So until we're able to do that, the Republic is going to continue to be undermined. We cannot outsource responsibility. That's the kind of country we've become.
Well, hopefully we'll start with voting. Let's start baby steps. Register and vote. Let's start there. Because then we can't complain if people can't complain if they're not doing what they need to do.
If you didn't show up to the polls,
exactly.
I don't want to hear.
I don't want to hear.
And not just for the presidential elections.
No,
we have to, because all these senators and congressmen that are allowing these things to happen and sitting in these chairs of power are because of the local and the regional and the state. Local. And when it's not a big election, we don't show up. So we have to start voting at all levels so we can make sure that we shift the country. The way we take our power back, the way that the Republic moves in the right direction, they listen when we vote. And they react to what we say is appropriate and inappropriate. The fact is that people feel powerless and feel, oh, my vote doesn't matter. So you let the people who are in power stay in power. In November, we can change all of this, and Trump will have some guardrails that he is not used to.
The way it's set up to be.
The way it's
Checks
set
and
up to be.
balances.
But you look at things like, for example, we don't understand basic civics. What we don't understand is...
Because they're not teaching it.
Yeah, they're not teaching it anymore, which is part of the problem. What we don't understand is the president, okay, great. Senators, okay, great. But at the end of the day, it is the governors who decide what your district is going to look like. But we don't want to get out and vote for the governors. We don't want to, and it is the local politicians. Until we understand that, and I voted for the president. It doesn't even matter.
Yeah, people aren't educated.
And there's a reason why education in certain communities is the way it is for that very reason. But we could talk about this
all day.
All day.
We could. So we're gonna move on, but we'd like to hear you guys' comments. So make sure that you in the YouTube conversation, let us know what you guys are thinking about some of the things we had to talk about today. I know we detoured a little bit and got a little political, but we also were referencing back to Bill Cosby and his sentencing, and also we're going to be talking about Geoffrey Owens, because that's one of Bill Cosby's former cast members, and he's been in the news lately because of being job shamed. As you know, and as you've heard, he was working at Trader Joe's.
Right by my house.
By your house. And people caught wind of that, and they went viral on social media, and they shamed him for working at Trader Joe's. Now, since then, he's done a circuit of different news stations and different programs to talk about everything that was going on. Miss Nicki Minaj offered to give him $25K, and she has come forward and given him that money. Now, it was just released that he actually donated that money to charity. And I don't know,
I feel the same way.
I think I'm kind of in my feelings about this a little bit.
Me too.
I'm not trying to judge you, Geoffrey, when I say this, but if you just went through this whole thing about you weren't working, you got a family, you're working at Trader Joe's to take care of your family, Why would you give that $25,000 away to charity? Don't get me wrong. We need to give money to charity. Don't get me wrong.
When we can afford to give.
When we can afford to. I mean, yes, since then he's been offered from Tyler Perry to work on the Have and Have-Nots. He also is, I guess, making a guest appearance on NCIS New Orleans. And Hilary Swank's upcoming movie called The Fatality, or Fatal, one of those two, if I'm
Hey, D, can I
mispronouncing it.
jump in on this?
Yes.
If somebody gifts you $25,000, it's over the tax limit for a gift, so it puts you into a higher tax bracket. So if he was not expecting that this year and he got that, it's deductible from your taxes to do a donation as opposed to getting a huge gift like that. So it might have jumped him up, and he would have had to pay out of that $25K probably $8K and pay the extra taxes for being in a higher tax bracket. So it actually financially kind of makes sense to me. I don't know if that's the case, but that's what I would assume from that statement.
That's our engineer Stephen from the booth. Thank you, Stephen, for that. But okay, and I feel you, but I might have said break the installment payments up. Give me.
And also, I think I believe in altruism and philanthropy. First of all, I probably wouldn't have taken it from Nicki Minaj because I'm not a Nicki Minaj fan. I don't like the way she conducts herself in general. But even with all the tax implications and all of that, let's say he ended up with an extra $5,000. When you're coming out of a situation like that, I don't know. I just wouldn't have. I would have thought it through a little bit differently. I mean, I guess I'm not shaming him for giving it to charity.
Absolutely not. No.
I just probably personally, would have used the money to help me continue to get back on my feet and take care of my family, because my family would have been my first priority, which is what he was saying about why he took the job at Trader Joe's in the first place. Yeah. So if your family if you're down on your luck at a point and your family's your first priority, and someone gives you, and I would have said that was God.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Me too.
And thank you, Jesus.
Thank you, Jesus.
I would have put my family first.
See, I agreed with what he did.
Okay, and what's your reasoning for that?
But he rich.
See, you in that different tax bracket. See?
No. The reason because of the benevolence. And if you really pay attention to what he did with the money, where he sent the money, and then I found out that he actually, in the last days of Russell from the show, who played Cliff's father, he lived with him, even though he was struggling. So that means that man, I think it's Earl Him, he was actually financially strapped at that point. So he donated it to an organization that helps actors.
It is, yeah.
Right?
It's the Actors Home, or Actors, I believe it's the Actors Fund, excuse me,
Actors Fund. And so they help those actors, because we think these people, we see them on TV, we think they're rich for the rest of their lives, but a lot of them struggle. So this is an organization that actually helps them when they are in need.
Yeah.
And he actually obviously is a very benevolent person, someone who really cares about other people, and he's like, you know what, I got a windfall now. So he sees these three things that are coming up as his blessing, so he wanted to bless someone else. So I agree with
the Reverend has shown up.
The Reverend, listen, do I need my church fan up here? Okay, you know what I'm saying? The Reverend has shown up. Now, this is what Geoffrey said. He said, I would like to give this donation of $25K to the Actors Fund in memory of the late, great Earl Hyman, who played Cosby's father, Russell, on The Cosby Show, as you said. He lived his last many years and died at the Actors Home. So he gave it to the Actors Fund, which I appreciate that. He said, I am grateful to Nicki Minaj for enabling struggling actors to continue pursuing their dreams. So
that's amazing.
That's amazing, but I still think he should
I
have
wouldn't
kept
have done it, but that's amazing.
Dr. Chris, what
look, I believe in karma.
Yeah.
And so my thing on this is, he gave it, it's going to come back to him.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Absolutely.
So that's how I look at it.
Well, listen, at the end of the day, I hate to say it, but the shaming actually resulted to something great for him, because no one was talking about him, and then now with this is why social media is a mother, but now his whole career game is changing.
Yeah.
And hopefully that'll continue. So good luck with that, Geoffrey. So, all right, we're going to move on to you guys now. All right, so we got some great books and things going on all up on this panel right here. So let's start off with Nate and Marion, because you guys, your book is currently already selling out everywhere. Yes. And as I mentioned the title already, I'll say it again. What You Don't Know Is Hurting You, 4 Keys to a Phenomenal Career, is already #1 in several categories on Amazon and a bestseller on Amazon. So tell people about the book who don't know about it.
So the book, the title was my opportunity to share with everyone what the elite usually only get to know about. So there are 4 key things that will either accelerate or derail your career and your life. And as a high potential, according to the Harvard Business Review, only 5% of people are considered high potentials. And they get access to information, training, support that the other 95% of people don't receive.
Only 5%?
Yeah.
According to the Harvard Business Review, only, and if you're a woman,
Are deemed high potential.
high potentials,
Yeah. Okay,
and if
okay.
you're a woman or a person of color, it's even lower.
Okay.
So what I was one of those high potentials, and I've been a business executive for over 20 years, and now I'm an executive coach. And what I found is that the vast majority of the people that I mentor, that I coach, don't know these things. So I said, you know what? I am going to write a book, and I'm going to share with everyone what the elite know, so everyone has an opportunity to grow.
So you can help move those people who aren't in that 5% into that 5% or higher.
Well, actually, they don't even have to get into the 5%.
They can just
to
do
know
their own thing.
They can do it on their own.
I like that.
Right?
I've often said it's actually a book that I wish I had when I was entering the workforce. We were just talking after our New York book signing. I reread the book, and I was like, I always get something new from it. And we were laughing. It was like, it's not like we didn't write it, like, you know what I mean? But it's such a helpful book, not just for career, but also just life. We talk about emotional intelligence versus IQ. Your IQ will only take you so far, but really it's your emotional intelligence that is a real indicator of your potential for success. And what Marion teaches is just phenomenal, and he's such a great conduit for encouraging people to reach their best level. And I just think it's a must-have book for anybody, particularly people entering the workforce or people who feel stuck. I think that those are the people that benefit the most, but everybody can.
Yeah.
How did you two team up?
Actually, it was through a mutual friend. So part of the book, in the positioning section, I talk about if you want to do anything great that you haven't done before, find someone who's great at doing it. So to be a mentor. So I reached out to Nathan through a friend, Ryan Lowry, said, why don't you call Nathan and ask him about becoming an author? Because I wanted to write a book, but I had no idea how. So I went to him for advice. He read all of the stuff that I had written, and he was like, I think we should partner on this. And I was floored that he was interested, and that's how the magic began.
And how long did it take you guys to put the book together?
2 years
2
from
years,
that meeting to publishing. And I don't say this just because he's in the room. It's one of the best collaborations I've ever had. I think that we complemented each other very, very well, where I was able to take some of his practices and put my little funny on them, and it was really a wonderful collaboration from beginning to end. And I couldn't be more proud. This is my 4th book, but this is one of the ones I'm most proud about.
Look at your 4th book. Look at that, 4th book. I like that.
Why do you think I went to him?
Right. He knows what he's doing.
He knows what he's doing. But I'm really proud of the sales. It's #1 bestseller and selling out and all those things. But the feedback that I've been getting from people around the impact that it's having on them, not even people who are starting their careers, but people who've been successful and realize, oh, that's what I've been missing to get to the next level. Those epiphanies and those insights and the tools that we're sharing that they're able to use, that's what's been the greatest joy for me.
So that's the biggest thing you want people to take from the book, is like really to take their career to the next level, how to do that. Because a lot of people get stuck and don't know how to do it, and you get consistent with certain bad habits.
Exactly, or you become a victim of what someone else did or didn't do. So I want people to feel empowered at all times. You have options, and we show you how in this book to take advantage and live up to your full potential.
Well, I started reading it, so I'm
and one last
trying to
thing
take
I
the
wanted
next
to
level.
say, it doesn't matter what career you're in. I coach actors, politicians, business people. It doesn't matter what your career is. This applies to you. These principles apply no matter what you're doing.
And he's the real deal Holyfield. Like, he practices what he preaches. I
can tell.
Yeah, he's amazing.
I can feel the energy.
Yeah, he's amazing.
Thank you.
And then we also have your book. You got Divided We Stand, The Quest for America's Soul coming out. And is it January?
January 19th.
And what's that book all about?
It's a political book because I am one of the few black conservatives in the country. So what it does is really talks about the true roots of conservatism. I fundamentally believe that in America we should have a two-party system. I think in any case, you cannot just rely on one party or the other. So it really just traces the roots of conservatism. It explains the reasons why Trump was elected, looks at the Constitution so people can understand what the meaning of originalism is, and then offers some solutions, some very controversial solutions, like, for example, the issue of term limits. I know that there's going to be a whole lot of backlash about that, but I don't really care.
Yeah. Right.
I mean, so there are all of these things, and so I really, really just explain how we can move and really reclaim America's soul.
And now, how long did it take you to put this book together as well? 'Cause I know
It
you have
took
several.
me about 6 months to do it. And it's interesting because I am an academic by training, and so all of my previous books, heavy citations, blah, blah, blah. This was completely different. It's pretty much what my experience has been. So it took me 6 months from the conception to actually getting it. Last week, finally, the Cali proof was done, and so we're ready to go.
And then you have one already out right now, The Construction and Rearticulation of Race in a Post-Racial America.
Yeah, and so I put the term post-racial in because from my perspective, post suggests after. And in the context of America, we haven't addressed the issue of racism, so we therefore, by definition, cannot be post-racial. And I talk about the fact that people often say, well, I don't see color, I'm colorblind. And, the issue is not whether you see color. The issue is how you respond to color or gender or whatever the particular difference is. So I talk about that in there. And also, in that particular book, as a conservative, I got a lot of flack because I'm talking about everybody from an inclusion standpoint. So they're like, well, how can you be a conservative and still support LGBT rights? And I'm like, okay, wait a minute. From a conservative perspective, we don't want anybody in our business. So why is it your business? We get into these kind of hot debates about, well, I'm like, okay, don't even pull the morality card. So it's all of those kinds of things. So I talk about post-racialism really as a myth because in fact it's a myth.
Right.
So and a lot of it too had to do with the election of President Obama and what some of the key challenges were there.
I feel like a collaboration should happen right here. There's a lot of educated brothers up in here writing books and like really changing people's minds, and I think that's what it's all about. So where can people find your book and how can they find you on social media as well?
So you can find me at marionebrooks.com. So MarionEbrooks.com. And also you can get the book on Amazon as well as my website.
Nate.
I am Nathan H. Williams on all my social media platforms, on Instagram, Twitter. You can find the book anywhere books are sold. I think Amazon restocked it, and so it's no longer sold out.
Yes.
Right. We like
so
that.
that's good.
Yeah,
Yes.
it's good.
And then Dr. Chris?
You can find me, Dr. Chris Meitzler, all my social media right there.
You can find me at Derrial Christon on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. Let's also give you the title of these books one more time. What You Don't Know Is Hurting You, 4 Steps to a Phenomenal Career, and also coming out in January, Divided We Stand, The Quest for America's Soul. But if you want to go ahead and get his other book that's already out, The Construction and Rearticulation of Race in a Post-Racial America, you got to get it. Get educated. We getting educated. We trying to educate. Have a great weekend. Peace.
From executives Keven Undergaro, Derrial Christon, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only.